Hi, everybody. This is Eating for Meaning. I'm your host, Millie Lytle, or Dr. Millie. I'm a naturopath and I'm a certified nutritionist. And we are exploring all the sun signs and how to eat for each different sun sign, whether it's your sun sign. Also, do check out your ascending or your rising sign as well as your moon sign, because that can also affect your health and how your body functions in relationship to food. As we're ascending, as we're becoming more spiritually aware, it's also very important to be in touch with our body, and our body are our temple. Your body is your temple, and so it's very important to not be perfect, but to be aware of what you're putting in your mouth. If we look at the food that's on the shelves of the grocery store, then if we think of it from a sinister perspective, which I can't help but do so because I do see the food that we're forced to eat if we select mainstream food as a form of population control. Because the food that we're eating is making us sick. It's giving us diabetes, it's giving us allergies, it's giving us high blood pressure, it's giving us food cravings. It's not by accident that so many Americans, so many North Americans, and even Western Europeans, Northern and Western Europeans, and now extending into Africa and the countries of the world that accept aid food, it's no wonder that we're suffering more and more from the Western chronic illness, which are related to obesity, related to cholesterol and cholesterol, blood sugar more than cholesterol, to be honest, stress, uh, migraine headaches, pressure, tension, depression, anxiety, cravings. And so the food that we're eating, if you think about it, is the biochemistry that you're putting into your body every day, 3 to 6 times a day. Or if you're not eating good food, then it's the biochemistry that you're not putting into your body those opportunities during the day. And this is affecting your health every single moment you're alive. And it's creating at the root level, at the root cause, how resistant you are to cold and flus, how much energy you have, how well you feel during the day, what your mood fluctuations are like, what your cravings are like, whether or not you have to self medicate with coffee, alcohol, take prescription medications or over the counter medications, whether you're in the medical system, how much you have to be included as part of the medical system, which is the sick care system that so much of us are facing. If you pay attention to your food, then you remove yourself from that common denominator for which so many people are being systemically controlled by the food that we're given, the food that's available to us by convenience, by first glance, because all the food in the grocery store shelves contains, if not hidden, but if you read the ingredients, you know it's there, but soy, corn, genetically modified foods, sugar beet or genetically modified canola oil, and genetically modified foods are altering genes, okay? Because the genes of the food itself is altered, and it can also alter our own genes, not to mention our cells on a more short term level. It's a very concentrated amount of pesticides that you're getting. And what do pesticides do? They kill insects. And so if these are strong enough to kill insects, then imagine what they're doing to the cells of your body, not to mention pesticide levels are not controlled. They spray whenever they want. They put fungicides on seeds as much as they like. There's really very little FDA regulation, and there's very little understanding of how much chemical exposure we're getting. Chemicals are war, okay? It is warfare. It is a form of population control. I believe this very strongly. In order to become enlightened, in order to become in touch and in control of our own health and in our own evolution, then we really do need to take ourselves off the grid in a lot of the perspective, take ourselves off of prepackaged foods. And that's all the convenience foods that you might be used to eating. Now, am I saying that you can't eat any foods that you like ever again? I'm not saying that. However, I am saying that we need to develop a new palate, and this happens gradually. It is possible. We just have to expose ourselves to better quality food so that once you do that, once you start exposing yourself to better quality of food, increase your fruits and vegetable consumption, then you're no longer as vulnerable to illnesses, as well as to cravings, as well as to the control that this cheap, manufactured, overly processed, undernutritious, caloric food gives us. Okay. I am available for consultations. I am going to offer a very special price. My consultation fees as a naturopathic doctor are pretty high. They're $550 for the initial. They're $400 for follow-ups. I do have some packages, but I am going to offer a very special rate to my YouTube followers. This is a new channel for me. I really want to get myself in front of you, and I really want to help you as much as possible. I'm absolutely committed to helping people ascend from a nutritional perspective, as well as, mind, body, soul. This is all related to our health. And so I do mind, body, soul readings. Those are oracle card readings. I do them weekly here on YouTube. I just started, but this is something I'm going to continue. I can do a mind, body, oracle reading for you alone for the price of $50. And that's about a 20-minute reading. And we pick cards associated with what your question is. And that's in whatever way you're thinking about your relationships or your life or your health or your job, because it's all holistic. Okay. And I'm trying to help people improve their health in all of these ways, as we're all trying to, on a mission to ascend and trying to be the best possible versions of ourselves. The world, there's been no better time to do this work for yourself, because the world needs good energy, positive energy. It needs us uniting. It needs us sending positive energy to the powers that be, to the negative forces, to the dark side. We all need to unite. We're here for a reason. We're here for a mission. And this is part of my mission, is to help you accomplish that. So mind, body, soul oracle readings are $50, and you can go onto my website at milliesays.com and book that. And this is only for my YouTube subscribers, okay? And you can also go on to my eatingformeaning.com page and book these. I am also doing horoscope readings, so medical astrology readings for you as an individual. We'll look at your sun, your moon, and your ascending, and we'll go over your main concerns, and I'll help you work out which foods you should be eating. This, again, is a very special deal. This is going to be $50, and you can book that right away. And I'm not sure how long these are going to last, but definitely I'm going to offer these for a little while as I build my channel. If you know anybody who's interested in taking advantage of one of these readings, please do have them come onto my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share. I really appreciate it, guys. I really want to reach as many people as possible. I think that this movement is really growing. We need to be physically fit. It's not enough just to be spiritually fit. And I do not mean, you need to go to the gym. I'm not saying don't do that, but that's not really where we get fitness and health. We get fitness and health from tuning into ourselves and learning how all the inner workings of our mind and our soul and our spirit, as well as our physical, are affecting our physical being. We need to be strong physically. We need to be, warriors and activists. We need to have energy. We need to have a clear mind. We need to have a clear channeled heart. We need to know what our mission is and to know our purpose. And in order to be doing this, we need to be as healthy as possible. So I'm here to help you accomplish your vision and help you accomplish your nutrition goals and your health goals, so that you can be the best activist, the best mission agent that you possibly can be. So if you think you're a twin flame, or if you're a twin flame, or if you're a blue ray, or if you're a star seed, or if you're a mission pioneer, or if you're a soul star, wherever you feel like you are, if which galactic family you've come from, intergalactic family you've come from, then I'm definitely here to help you. And if you are confused as to what is happening to you, if you're confused or scared by what you're seeing or what you're feeling, or how people are responding to you in terms of your spiritual gifts, please do not be dismayed. This is part of your awakening. This is part of your gift. This is part of your soul's purpose. We are all going through this. You are not alone. And so if you feel alone, then please do reach out to me and connect, because it's really important that we unite and that we are aware of what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the light in this video. I don't know why it's changing so much, but I'm just going to take that as a lot of energy is coming through right now. And so stay tuned for thanks so much again for liking, subscribing. If you'd like to take advantage of one of my special offer readings, either for a mind, body, soul oracle reading, or which I'm also doing for Integral Fitness, their conscious family dinners coming up in December in New York. So I am offering them. I'm going to be offering them for free for that dinner, for the price of admission of the dinner. I'm not sure if they're still taking bookings or not for that, but so it is something that I'm going to be doing publicly as well. I do this within my practice, but I'm just offering these by themselves for $50. Or if you'd like the astrology portion, if you'd like to know what to eat for your sun sign, rising, and moon sign, then before we book that appointment or before we have that appointment, I'll have to know that information about you. And I'll have to know what your chief complaint is in terms of your nutrition. And then I'll give you also a 20-minute um, session, nutrition session. Okay, so again, thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. It really means a lot to me. And I'm going to try to respond to everybody's, but stay tuned for your sun sign as it relates to your nutrition. This is Medical Astrology on Eating for Meaning. Thank you. Hi, Virgo, and welcome to Eating for Meaning's version of medical astrology, what your nutrition is for your sun sign and your moon sign. If you're a Virgo in your sun or your moon, then this is applicable to you. If it's in your rising sign, it could also be applicable. So we all want to lead a healthy and happy life, but not many of us know what health is, and in terms of astrology. So medical astrology explains the psychosomatic relationship between the body and the mind. So, how the mind impacts the body. And this is true for all of us, but it might be most true for Virgo. The psychological reasons behind a person's well being are revealed by medical astrology. Each individual, as per their own individual psychosomatic makeup, responds to various treatments differently, and the position of the sun, moon, and other planets also cause various health issues on different zodiac signs. Now, I am not a medical astrologer, I'm a naturopathic doctor. However, they relate so much because naturopathic medicine also looks at the psychosomatic relationship between mind, body, and spirit. And we look to see what organ systems of the body are weakened from birth or from injury. But as it relates to the natal chart, I do that in my practice to look to see what the individual is susceptible to. So if you're getting symptoms ongoing, you might think it's normal for you, but it really might be having an impact on the organ systems of your body and causing chronic illness later on. And by looking at how the organ systems relate and by knowing biochemistry and physiology, then a naturopathic doctor as well as a medical astrologer can look for these correlations and predict as well as prevent what chronic diseases you don't have to suffer through as you go on through your life. Okay. So those with their moon in Virgo can have issues related to eating and breathing. Okay. Because Virgo is very much a ruler of eating, really enjoys eating, suffers conditions of overeating, suffers conditions of untimely eating. So not eating on schedule. Virgos are sensitive to their environment in terms of reacting to chemicals and cleaning products and gases and fumes and paint and carpets and mold and even synthetic materials like latex, or latex is actually a natural material, but Virgos can react to that. Nylon, stockings, certain plants that are latex like the rubber tree plant. Children who have their moon in Virgo or even their sun sign in Virgo should never be forced to use any objects like rubber gloves or latex objects or any plastic objects. It might be an inhaler, or eat any foods that they're sensitive to. And that could be foods that you might otherwise consider healthy. It could be tomatoes, it could be avocados, it could be potatoes, it could be dairy, yogurt, it could be milk. If the child does not want it, then the child is in tune. If they continually reject that food and it's not necessarily even a taste thing, they just don't want it, then always pay attention. And if you as an adult feel this way as well, do pay attention, because by eating those foods, you could become more sick. And in Western nutrition, it's a histamine issue. So we tend to think about histamines like we take an antihistamine like a Claritin or a Zyrtec or something, and it suppresses the histamine. But our body is still releasing and responding histamine. And why is it doing that? It's responding to something in the environment. It's responding to something that we're eating. We tend to only think of hay fever or pollens or allergens being environmental or seasonal, but in fact they could be all around us all the time. And once our histamine is stimulated, then it stays up for about 10 days. So if we eat something during that 10-day period that also elevates our histamine, then we could end up with like a chronic histamine elevation. We could end up with hives. We could end up with difficult breathing, shortness of breath, asthma. We could end up with indigestion. We could end up with heartburn. We could end up needing to take what we think is an antacid, and maybe the antacid wouldn't even help with Virgos because the histamine reaction really comes from the inability of the body to break down the histamine. So it's actually a liver problem, not even necessarily so much a histamine production problem. So Virgos do want to look into going on a low histamine diet, so avoiding aged foods, so aged cheeses, yogurt, pickled foods, alcohol, beer, wine, foods with sulfates in them and nitrates in them, so aged and cured meats and smoked fish and smoked meats, prosciutto and ham. Also want to avoid dried fruits, especially those that have been treated with sulfates. These can all aggravate and irritate. Now, if the food is properly fermented, if it is a sauerkraut or a kimchi or a kombucha that is raw and unpasteurized, or if it's a raw cheese, or then that can be good for Virgos. Virgos will also respond really well to sprouted foods, so foods that are easier to digest. So that could be sprouts of any kind, or that could be sprouted bread like Ezekiel bread, or sprouted flours because sprouted are easier to break down. Virgos can definitely be sensitive to gluten as well because Virgos have a lot of digestive problems and have a lot of problems related to liver detox, have a lot of sugar irregularities. Okay, so keeping your digestive system healthy is something that's really important for a Virgo. Um, so hay fever, asthma, as I mentioned, it's really important to take foods that help to reduce histamine buildup. So this could be detoxifying the liver regularly. So taking dandelion, taking bitter greens, arugula, um, not so much spinach, but the cabbage family vegetables, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, sprouts from broccoli, and mustard greens and maca. And so these foods are very good for the liver and very good for the Virgo. Also, foods with high vitamin C with citrus bioflavonoids. So that would be the orange or the white part surrounding the orange or the grapefruit that we don't tend to ever eat. It's the whole spectrum of the red, yellow, and orange fruits do have bioflavonoids in them as well as all the purple fruits. I recommend a product called OPC3, which is just phenomenal for allergies and hay fever and reducing inflammation. It's got citrus bioflavonoids and grapeseed extract and resveratrol and bilberry in it, and it tastes really good. And it almost tastes like a non-alcoholic wine. And so, especially since Virgos probably should avoid red wine and any wines that cause a histamine reaction or have sulfites in them, and definitely want to eliminate beer unless it's a gluten-free beer. Even then, might be a problem for a Virgo. And so Virgos and Sun have, so Virgos, I should say again, also have a difficult digestion. So they can be susceptible to having inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's, in which case you really do want to be on the anti-inflammatory diet, if not the autoimmune protocol, because that's an autoimmune condition. And so you want to be having turmeric, you want to be having really well cooked foods, soupy, stewy foods, sprouted foods, avoiding gluten altogether, avoiding dairy. And if there's diarrhea, then you could do the brat diet, which is bananas, rice, that's white rice. Normally, I would always recommend brown rice, but if you're having a flare up of diarrhea, then you want to do white rice, apples, and toast. And that should be a white bread, but a gluten-free white bread if you do have Crohn's, especially. So that's for diarrhea. So Virgos might have to do that. Now, if you have IBS, so it's a psychosomatic illness where your stress plays a part in your digestion, so you get stressed and then you have diarrhea, and then it takes a couple of days in order to have another bowel movement because you feel constipated, but really because everything's cleaned out. And so you really do want to make sure that you have the good probiotics and gut healing foods. So that could be bone broth, and that could be, as I mentioned, soups and stews, really well cooked foods, sprouted foods that are really easy to digest. Um, Virgos can also suffer from appendicitis and parasites and worms, in which coconut oil is really good, fiber like bran, and not if there's diarrhea, but if there's constipation, then you really want to focus on bran, chia, flax, podarco, black walnut, tea or capsules, or also eating walnuts, and do a good clean out. You might want to engage in getting a colonic or doing a salt flush. And definitely as Virgos, you want to avoid contact due to hypersensitivity. So you could have allergies to condoms, rubber gloves, as I mentioned, latex paint, fumes, and so you really want to be careful not to expose yourself to T-bands. I had a Virgo in my practice who was a physical therapist, and she was allergic to T-bands, and so we had to remove. She had actually had to quit her job in order to get better. She was having all sorts of inflammations in her eyes and styes and hives and rashes, and she had all sorts of food sensitivities at the same time. So a sun in Virgo has a sensitive respiratory system and nervous system. So again, this kind of IBS-like picture, or if you're stressed and then you have a difficult time breathing. So you really do want to strengthen your abdominal, strengthen your diaphragm by doing deep breathing exercises. You know, breathe through a straw if you want to exercise, or do the fish breath, which is so if you have a hard time breathing out, the fish breath is really helpful for taking a slow breath out. Virgo governs the intestinal tract and the bowels. So generally, Virgos are very health conscious. They're very worried about worms. They're very worried about germs because they are sensitive to getting infections and intestinal problems. They are often washing their hands frequently. They're also can be vegetarian. They might find meat disgusting and not want it. And you can be a vegetarian as a Virgo. You just do not want to be a bagel and cheese vegetarian. You want to make sure that you're having sprouted lentils, avoiding all the gluten grains, having nuts and seeds as protein, having mushrooms as protein, having fermented foods as protein, having algae in your diet. It's really important for Virgos to be healthy. And because their livers don't really work very well, their pancreas doesn't really work very well. They don't really regulate their blood sugar very well. It's really important to have a regular eating pattern because Virgos are sensitive to diabetes or even high cholesterol or gallstones and pancreatitis. So it's also definitely important for Virgos not to be consumers of very much alcohol and to eat regularly. So when you wake up first thing in the morning, you have a really healthy cereal with coconut and chia and flax, or it could be a buckwheat and chia porridge, or it could be a gluten-free oatmeal cereal with blueberries and coconut milk, or it could be coconut yogurt, or it could be a couple eggs and some vegetables, or it could be some lentil soup. A really healthy breakfast within an hour of waking up, and then also every 3 to 4 hours to be eating something so that your blood sugar doesn't fall. Really important for Virgos to be regular with their eating patterns. They do suffer from indigestion, but it's not generally from weak digestive acids. It's generally due to a bad liver. So really important for Virgos to do regular detox, whether that's 2, 3, 4 times a year, using a good herbal supplementation or just doing I wouldn't recommend a juice fast because you become too sensitive, but you can incorporate juices or shakes into your blended drinks, into your detox, and then have a very simple brown rice diet with vegetables and do that on a regular basis. Or it could be a protein if you do eat meat, it could be a more of a paleo detox where you're doing fish and eggs and meat and vegetables, a lot of vegetables. So 75% of your plate would be vegetables and only 25% would be protein. Now, do keep in mind that some people are also allergic to eggs, so that might not be a very good option, and some fishes as well, but definitely not aged fishes, smoked fishes, or fermented fishes for Virgos. So I hope you enjoyed this reading, Virgo, and we'll see you soon.